It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
All right, this next question is from, I don't think this is a given name, can't be positive, but it's Gimme Bananas. So Gimme asked this question, or maybe it's Jimmy, I don't know, it starts with a G, Jimmy Bananas. I'm 39 and the wife is 41. We're doing the 3-bucket strategy and have $309,000 in Roth, $807,000 in 401ks and IRAs, and $22,000 in a brokerage account, after-tax account. What bucket should I put bonds and growth stocks into? So I think Gimmy's question is actually around like asset location, which we can speak to, but it might be valuable, Brian, just to kind of talk a little bit about what is the 3-bucket strategy, why does it matter, and what, for Jimmy or Gimme, Mr. Bananas here, at those asset levels, are there some things that he should be thinking about?
Okay. I promise I'm going to try not to take all the oxygen out of this. The 3-bucket strategy is this simple. We have after-tax money, which is your brokerage accounts. You have your tax deferred, which are like you get a tax deduction when you make the contribution, but then when you pull it out down the road, after it's appreciated or gone up in value, you pay taxes in. That's like your 401k, your 403bs, your tax deductible IRAs or SEP IRAs. Then you got your tax-free, which are Roth. And Gimmy's question really is, how do you maximize by where you put different assets? And in broad terms, we think about this from a tax perspective as well as a liquidity perspective. So, obviously in that after-tax or the brokerage account, whether it's an individual or joint account, you want to know, hey, this is the money I'm going to have the easiest access to, liquidity, so that's important. But you also know, hey, what are things that are taxed favorably in this type of structure? Dividends have a lower tax rate. Capital gains have a lower tax rate. So you want to be mindful of that. And then things that have like bonds pay ordinary income tax rates, but you're backing into that whole liquidity issue because maybe you're retired, you want to have access. So these are things that take into account, and then you move over to the tax deferred accounts. These are accounts, like I said, you put money in, you get a tax deduction, but when you pull it out, you're going to pay ordinary income tax rates. We like in these things long-term growth, but understanding since it's going to be taxed as ordinary income at the high marginal rate, let's put in stuff that gets taxed under a normal ordinary high marginal rate anyway, and that is where your bonds historically will go because it's just hard to avoid taxation on those things. And then you move over to your third bucket, which is tax-free. That's your Roth assets, which we all know. Look, there's all an element of greed in human nature is that if we have something that can grow completely tax-free, wouldn't it be great? I just had a discussion with Daniel. We were talking about Tesla, and then I gave a whole experience share of somebody I knew who was involved with Home Depot in Atlanta that put $10,000 into a trust account that turned into over $1 million just because that growth and growth and growth. Same thing's kind of going on with Tesla right now. Wouldn't it be great if that was in a Roth account? Because then that $990,000 of appreciation would be completely tax-free. That's why we like putting growth assets in a Roth, but there's one little caveat that you got to be careful of. There's no tax deduction if you lose money. So you don't want to be so crazy that there's a 90% chance you're going to lose all the money in here. So you do want to be deliberate about making sure you're maximizing the growth. But hopefully I left something for you. I just wanted to go through what are the 3 buckets so people could know how to navigate that.
No, that's wonderful. And what I love, Mr. Bananas, about you sharing the actual numbers in your circumstance are that your story is a very common one that we hear. Your largest pot of assets is your pre-tax because we have a 401k that we have access to, and oftentimes we get an employer match. So most often, that's the largest bucket. I think it was from Everyday Millionaires that said, and correct me if I mess this up, Brian, but most millionaires hit millionaire status inside of their 401k.
Like around age 49.
Around age 49. That's the thing that kind of gets them there, right? So you've done a great job building up the pre-tax. It's your biggest. Well, what's really interesting is it sounds like you must have been a financial mutant pretty early on because you have $300,000 in your Roth at ages 41 and 39. that means that you really did some good work to save early and often inside of your Roth bucket. So your tax-free bucket is really, really healthy, and that's something you want to hopefully continue to grow. Now, there was some legislation that could potentially change that if you're doing backdoors or that sort of thing, but that's great. The one bucket that you have not necessarily built up yet is that after-tax bucket. So when I look at your situation, I think, man, you've done really, really good on these two buckets. I would love to have a conversation with you on, okay, what are your goals? Because I didn't do the math, and I don't do public math anymore, but I think this is like $1.1, $1.2 million of investable assets at 41 and 39. You are killing it. Like, you are crushing it. Odds are you're going to have the opportunity to make some pretty exciting decisions around 50 or around 55. Those types of decisions are going to affect how your saving strategy be employed right now, because if you're someone who wants to leave before age 55 or before age 59 and a half, you might need that third after-tax bucket so that you have some bridge money to bridge the gap between the time that you retire, the time that you leave the workforce, the time you reach financial independence, and the time you start drawing off of those assets. You are kind of at that stage where we often say, man, the size of your decisions is now pretty big. And the decisions you make now have a long tail impact on what you're going to be doing 10, 15, 20, 25 years from now. This might be a great time to think about talking with a professional advisor, taking the relationship to the next level, seeking someone out who can tell you, hey, you've done great. Here's how you optimize for the next part of the journey that you're about to embark on.
Yeah, it's the abundance cycle fulfilled. And look, it's you're in that unique place where it's building wealth, but also maintaining wealth.
Right.
That's a key element I think a good financial advisor is going to help you do, is not only build the wealth, but make sure you get to keep the wealth, because we all know it seems to flow out pretty quick based upon historical numbers on how long wealth stays within families. So pay attention. We love, this is one of the reasons we create awesome contents, because we want you to come take all the free content you want, learn, apply this, but you will reach a level of success where you're going to become bananas and you might need a little help, taking the relationship to the next level to know how to maximize as well as preserve what you built over the decades.
I love it.